Hello friends, good morning to everyone. This is Shikhar. Today I have come with a very interesting and very important topic. The topic which I have chosen today is troubleshooting Linux boot process, Linux boot problems. So for a Linux admin, this topic is very important. Reason being, a system admin or Linux admin, he used to, reboot the Linux servers many times. Okay, while you are doing a patching or while you are doing any critical activity on a Linux servers, so we used to reboot the Linux server. So sometime what happens when you reboot your Linux server, the Linux server is not coming up. Okay, Linux server fails to show the login screen at startup. It means you have boot problem. Okay, so in this session we are going to diagnose and fix a Linux boot problems. Problems could be anything like your initial RAM disk is having some problem. Okay, your some critical files is missing from the server. Okay, and there are a lot of problems. Grub issue, grub file is missing. So in this session, okay, we are going to discuss all these things. We will create scenarios. We will remove the critical files from the server, and we'll try to recover how to recover all those things. Okay, so let's guys, let me log into one of my Linux server, and this session is for RHEL 6. Previous session I had already discussed all the scenarios, but that for RHEL 5. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is I'm just going to log into one of my Linux server. Okay, this is my Linux server. Okay, I'm just noting down what all the troubleshooting I am doing. Let me open a notepad. Okay, font bold type 14. First let me do initramfs is missing. Okay, so first troubleshooting is I'm just going to remove initramfs from my server. I hope everyone is aware of what is initram, what is initrd. Okay, initrd, actually if you talk about previous version RHEL 5, we were using initrd RAM. It's RAM disk. Okay, but for RHEL 6 and onwards we are using initramfs. Okay, I'm just telling you in a very brief what is initrd and what is initram, because sometimes that's a question for interview. What is the basic difference between initrd and initramfs? Initrd, basically it is a set of blocks that gets copied to an allocated chunk of memory, then treated as a block device. A normal file system is created on the RAM disk. The initRD, initial RAM disk, is a RAM disk that is mounted during boot up. That line is very important. The initRD, initial RAM disk, is a RAM disk that is mounted during boot up. And let's talk about initramfs. Initramfs, basically that is for RHEL 6. The initramfs is something different. Okay, it's a CPIO archive of files that is allocated during boot up. The kernel loads the content into a virtual file system is called rootfs. Okay, both methods results in files being available to the kernel at boot time before any device have been loaded. Okay, I'm not going into very detail about into this, but this is a basic idea about your. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to remove my initrd. Basically it is in your /boot. /boot is always a separate file system. Okay, slash boot is not a part of LVM. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just removing initramfs. I have moved, so there is no initram. Okay, so this file helps the kernel to load. Okay, now I'm going to reboot my server. Let me do it from my this. Okay, I have rebooted my Linux RHEL 6. Now you can see. Okay, you know what happened? Server boots, it goes to the BIOS. From BIOS it got the bootable device. Okay, because BIOS keeps few information like from which disk the system needs to reboot, so all those information BIOS keeps. So BIOS got the bootable device, your hard disk, bootable disk, and after that what happened, it hits to the first sector of the bootable device, that is called MBR. From MBR is always 512 bytes. In MBR we have further things like your bootloader, first bootloader, and partition table and magic number. So what happened here, the server reached to your BIOS. From BIOS it got your bootable device, your hard disk, your boot disk. From boot disk it hits to your MBR. From MBR it got the primary bootloader as well. From primary bootloader, which keeps the sector information of your secondary bootloader, that is always in /boot. Okay, so server reached to that point. Okay, but it means your server has reached to /boot. Okay, now what is the functionality of bootloader? It loads the kernel into the memory. Okay, but who helps bootloader? It takes the help from initrd to load the kernel into the memory, but here initramfs is missing. That's why server is not coming up. And you can see once server is booting, you got the display menu. Reason being, the server has reached to that point /boot. So let's do some troubleshooting. I have just give you a brief idea about what basically is happening. Okay, now we don't have any other option because nothing is coming. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just boot my server into rescue mode. Okay, to boot the server into rescue mode, we have to first select my CD drive. Okay, this is my RHEL 6 ISO image. Okay, now I am again rebooting it so that it will boot from CD. Okay, now you can see this time my Linux server, my RHEL 6 has been booted with the help of disk, with the help of CD drive, ISO image of RHEL 6. Now I am choosing option 3, that is rescue install system. Okay, it will take hardly 1 or 2 minutes to take me into the rescue mode. You can see this a blue screen is coming. It will ask for information like keyboard and all those things, English, US. Now what type of media contains the rescue image? local CD drive. Okay, because we have booted my Linux server with the help of local CD drive. Okay, and it will pop up a window which will tell what is rescue mode and all those things. Do you want to start the network interface on the system? No. Sometimes we require network interfaces. Even we can enable our network interface at rescue mode. Just suppose I have to copy some critical files, or I have to install something at rescue mode. So in that case we can enable our network interface, and once the server or once the Linux system is in rescue mode, we can ping to any other Linux server, and we can copy the files from via SCP, okay, or RSCP. Okay, see this. What is rescue environment? Rescue environment will now attempt to find your Linux installation, and mount is under the directory /mnt/sysimage. So it will mount all your file systems under /mnt/sysimage. Reason being, this time my Linux server has been booted into rescue mode with the help of CD. So it is taking help of CD drive. So a lot of files that has been taken by CD drive, CD's images. So suppose my var. So in that case the var will be mounted as /mnt/sysimage/var, if var is a separate file system. Suppose I have a separate file system /usr. So where it will be mounted? It will be mounted in /mnt/sysimage/usr. So it will be mounted like that. Okay, I'm just continuing. Okay, your system has been mounted under mnt/sysimage. Okay, now you can start your shell. Now I'm here. If I'm giving df-h, you can see all my file systems has been mounted under /mnt/sysimage. My root is simple. My slash is here, /mnt/sysimage. That's all. Okay. So guys, let's see what is the problem on my Linux server. So if you will start doing a lot of troubleshooting, you will come to know, like if this screen is coming off, this error is coming while booting, so that could be the issue. So let's see. Suppose I have to go to in /boot. So I have to go this mnt/sysimage/boot. Okay, here now I can see what all the files. Now I have found that my initramfs is not in that location in /boot. I have just just for troubleshooting purpose, just for the testing purpose, I have moved the file into backup. Okay, /backup, yeah, /backup. The extension should always be .img. Okay, so I'm here. I'm going to recreate this initramfs. Okay, in RHEL 7 and RHEL 5 there is a utility that is called Dracut or Dracut. Dracut utility can be used in RHEL 6 to rebuild the initramfs. So let me show you how to do this. It's very simple. Dracut -f, okay, and initramfs. Okay, if you give the tab, it will take you into the kernel version number. Suppose if you don't know the kernel version number, then here what you will do, simple, you will do this dollar and this uname -r, okay, and then .img. The extension of initramfs is .img. Okay guys, and last we will put this initramfs. This you have to learn. That's all. This will create your initramfs. But we have to do one thing before doing this. There is a command chroot /mnt sysimage. This will, if you fire this command, what will happen? It will mount your file systems in an original way. Now if you fire df-h, you can see this. Now all your file systems have been mounted as it was earlier. Now again I have going to fire this command -f init initramfs -this my dollar uname -r .img initramfs dash dollar uname -r. I think everything is fine. Okay, one thing is missing still. I have to create it /boot, so I have to specify this, that is in /boot. Okay, and then /boot. Okay, this way. Or you can do one thing, go to cd /boot and then you can fire this command. Oh my god, I have to again type it. Okay, fine guys. It will take some time. You can see a lot of warning messages coming. Find modules. This, let's see the file has been created or not. Oh, I have done some mistake, that's why. It's a troubleshooting session, so if we are not going to do some mistake, how we will learn? Okay, the problem is here, let me tell you. The new file which has been created, it's this one. I'm going to remove this file, rm initramfs. Okay, that's not the correct one. Okay guys, why I was using uname -r? See this. Okay, now again I am firing the same command. This here we have to use this only, not for initram. Okay, fine. So instead of typing the whole kernel version, you can type uname -r as well. So we have to make sure all those things while creating initramfs. It will take 30 to 40 seconds to rebuild your initramfs, which keeps the minimum modules which required kernel to load the root file systems. Have patience. Yeah, see, this time we haven't got any errors, and my file has been created. See this. If you'll see the size, it would be somewhere around 161783331. Earlier it was also the same, the backup file. Okay, so this is my correct initramfs files which is created now. Now if I am going to reboot it, exit. Now I have to remove my CD drive, otherwise it will again boot with this CD. No issues. Boot from local drive. Earlier when initramfs was missing, that time it got stuck at that position. The server was not booting from that point because server was not able to get initramfs, which helps kernels to load. Okay, so guys, now we have troubleshooted, okay, how to recover initramfs, okay, and we have learned how to take the server in rescue mode. Okay, from rescue mode, instead of this initramfs, we can do a lot of troubleshooting. Say for example, my grub.conf file is missing. Okay, so you can boot your system in grub.conf in rescue mode, and from there you can check whether my grub.conf file is existing, or maybe some absurd entries are there which is not allowing your system to boot. So all these things we can troubleshooting. See this, what it is showing. It is showing the warning SE targeted policy relabel is required. So this time it will take some time. Okay, and once it will be doing all scanning, it will be come up. Okay, let me see how much time. 22 minutes. I want to cover one more thing in this session, but this will take some time. Relabeling could take a very long time depending on the file system size and the speed of hard drives. So we have to wait for a few minutes. Okay, I want to cover this grub also in this session. Okay, grub is basically it's a bootloader which helps the kernel to load file systems. Okay, why it is taking time? Okay, let's wait for a few more minutes, then I am going to remove my grub.conf file, and let's see what is happening. Okay, let me point out what all the troubleshooting. Grub.conf file is missing. Third, say for example, my bin mount is missing. If mount is missing, obviously server won't able to mount any file system. It won't able to mount root file system. So what will happen? Obviously server won't come up. So this is, you can see, I said earlier, missing critical file. So mount binary is it's a very critical file. So if critical file is missing from the server, so what will happen? We will cover this scenario, how to recover it. Fourth is this your good question. MBR, master boot record, is wiped out. There is no file for MBR. Okay, so MBR we will wiped out. It is always in disk first sector of your system. So if your MBR is wiped out, then what will happen and how to recover it, then that's also we can cover in this session. Okay, and the last is suppose my complete slash boot is missing. Complete slash boot. Say for example, someone has done rm cd slash boot and then rm-rf. So removed all the files from slash boot, then what will happen? Remove kernel, remove your all the initramfs, remove your grub.conf, everything has been wiped out from this slash boot directory. So what will happen and how to recover it? So this is very important topic. So we will also discuss this in this session, not in this session, in the next session of this troubleshooting. It will take some time. Next time we will take 2 Linux servers. Okay, in RHEL 6 yeah, you can see this time my Linux server will come up. Boot from local drive. Okay, this system is coming up 6.2. Network service has not started yet. It will take hardly 1 more minute. Right click, restart. Okay, root Red Hat. So the next is the second point is grub.conf is missing. Let me go to this boot, grub.conf in /grub. Okay, and it is I'm in here, grub.conf. So I am moving my grub.conf into grub.backup. It means grub.5 is missing from the server. Okay, I'm again rebooting it. Let's see what is happening. Stopping it. From local. It is taking me into the grub menu. You can say it's another interface of booting process. You can interrupt your Linux server in grub. So from here also you can do troubleshootings. Okay, so here what happened, again I am just repeating it. Server started booting, then it goes to BIOS. From BIOS it got your bootable disk, your boot disk, and then BIOS always hit to the first sector of your bootable disk, that is your MBR. MBR is having the information of your primary bootloader. Primary bootloader keeps the information of your secondary bootloader. Now it has been reached to your secondary bootloader. Now the server is in secondary. Secondary bootloader is always in /boot. Okay, the server has been reached to /boot. From /boot, the server is confused now. What is my kernel? Where is my kernel? From which kernel I have to boot? Which initramfs I have to boot? So I believe you are aware that what all the informations we have in grub.conf. Grub.conf file basically tells your system to boot with this kernel. Maybe in system I have 3-4 kernels. So which kernel my system, my Linux server has to boot? So this file tells. So here the server is confused, like from which kernel I have to boot, from which initramfs I have to use here. So here you can do one thing, you can do manually as well, kernel / this way. Okay, now I have created a backup file, so it is throwing me whether you want to. Possible files are this. If I have this file I already moved, so it is showing not format. So if I am giving this file, the backup file, Okay, it is saying invalid and unsupported executable format, because the format has been changed from .img. It should be .img. Okay, so here I don't have any other option. I have to boot my server into kernel mode. Okay, suppose I am giving boot, it won't boot up. Okay, so I have to, kernel must be loaded before booting, so kernel has not loaded. So let me boot my Linux server into rescue mode. From here you can you can read your grub file from here. Okay, I know I have moved the file from grub.conf to grub.conf/bkp. Okay, so this way also you can read all those things. Okay, let me reboot it. Again I will boot my system into rescue mode. It will ask few informations. Local drive, yeah, it's local drive, local CD drive. Here I have booted my Linux server with the help of CD drive. I don't need network interface. Continue. Okay, okay, okay. Now df-h, everything is fine. I have to do chroot /mnt sysimage. Okay, df-h, everything has been mounted properly. I will go to /boot. Okay, then I will go to grub cd grub ls-ltr. Now when I have done ls-ltr in /boot grub, I found that my grub.conf is missing here. So what I will do, I can create grub.conf manually here. It's simply a file which I can create with the help of VI, or if I have network interface I can copy it from some other location. Okay, this file doesn't keep a lot of information. It keeps, see this, it is just telling your default timeout default is 00 means the first one, SD00. Okay, it will boot with this one, and then what is a kernel, okay, and what is the root UID and all those information, RD, no lux, no LVM, language, and all those informations, RHGH. Okay, and this kernel, these are few parameters we have to specify while booting. So two more important things are kernel with few parameters and the initramfs. Okay, so you can manually create this file as well. Okay, or else you can copy the file from some other server with the same kernel version. You can copy here as well. Okay, and also you can check your kernel version like initramfs. Okay, so what I am going to do here is move my grub.conf back up to grub. So my grub file has been come up now. Now exit and reboot. Okay, now server will come up. It will go to MBR. From MBR it will go secondary bootloader. See this, local boot. Okay, now it has started booting. Okay, so guys, in this session we have covered few things like my initramfs is missing and my grub.conf is missing. So what are those things and how to troubleshoot. Okay, so I'm going to bind up this session now, and I believe you guys have learned something from this session, and in my next session we will discuss more about troubleshootings and we'll come up with more ideas. Guys, hope you have enjoyed the session. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your watching. Bye bye, take care.